Our journey to Budapest began with a flight from Sofia. After a short flight, we finally arrived in the Hungarian capital, ready to begin exploring. After checking into our hotel and leaving our luggage, we wasted no time. Our first stop was the Central Market Hall, one of the most famous and interesting buildings in Budapest. Even from the outside, the building immediately stood out with its impressive architecture and unique design. The structure itself felt grand, combining traditional details with an industrial style that made it feel both historic and impressive at the same time. Inside, the atmosphere was lively and full of energy. After exploring the market, it was time for our first proper meal in the city. Our next stop was Paris Passage restaurant, and this place turned out to be something truly special. The moment we stepped inside, we were immediately impressed by the interior. Elegant decorations, beautiful architectural details, soft lighting, and an atmosphere that felt luxurious yet welcoming made the restaurant feel unforgettable. The food was absolutely delicious, making the experience even better. After lunch, we continued our exploration through the central part of Budapest. Sometimes one of the best ways to experience a city is simply to walk through it, without rushing, allowing yourself to notice the little details. And Budapest certainly gave us plenty to admire. Later that day, we headed to the Franz Liszt Academy of Music for a piano concert. The building itself already felt impressive, but once inside, the atmosphere became even more special. As evening arrived, we decided to explore Budapest at night. We spent the evening walking through the city, simply enjoying the atmosphere and taking in the beauty of the illuminated architecture before ending our first day. The following morning, we began our day in one of Budapest's most iconic areas, Castle Hill. Almost immediately, it became clear why this part of the city is so popular. Our first stop there was Fisherman's Bastion. Standing there and looking over Budapest was simply breathtaking. The panoramic views over the city were absolutely stunning. Seeing the Parliament Building, the bridges crossing the Danube, and the endless city stretching into the distance made this one of the most memorable viewpoints of the trip. It was one of those moments where you simply stop for a second and appreciate where you are. Just nearby stood St. Matthias Church. From the outside, the church already looked beautiful, but stepping inside revealed an even more impressive interior. Every detail felt carefully designed, with beautiful decorations, impressive colors, and an atmosphere that felt calm and almost timeless. The interior was truly stunning and easily became one of the architectural highlights of our visit. Afterwards, we climbed the tower of the Church of St. Mary Magdalene. The climb itself took some effort, but the reward at the top was absolutely worth it. After that, we continued toward the Tyrol Bird Monument, standing proudly above the city and offering yet another impressive viewpoint. Nearby stood Buda Castle, one of the city's most historic landmarks. Today, the castle houses the Hungarian National Gallery, but simply walking around the castle grounds and admiring the architecture felt like stepping back through centuries of history. Later that day, we returned once again to the Franz Liszt Academy of Music for another classical concert. Ending the day with live music for a second time somehow felt even more special, adding a calm and memorable ending to another day of exploring. The next morning started with one of the most iconic buildings not only in Budapest, but in all of Hungary, the Hungarian Parliament Building. Before entering, we purchased tickets for later in the day and decided to continue exploring first. Our next stop turned out to be unexpectedly memorable. We headed to Budapest Central Railway Station and had lunch at what is probably one of the most beautiful McDonald's restaurants we have ever visited. After lunch, we headed toward Heroes Square. The massive open space and impressive monuments immediately stood out, giving us another glimpse into Hungary's history and national identity. From there, we continued to Városliget Park. The atmosphere here felt completely different from the busy city center. The park offered a more peaceful side of Budapest, surrounded by beautiful buildings, relaxing green spaces, and a lovely lake where we took some time to slow down and simply enjoy the moment. Our next stop was the Budapest Zoo, one of the oldest zoos in Europe and a place we were really looking forward to exploring. The zoo turned out to be much bigger and more interesting than we expected, making it easy to spend several hours simply walking around and discovering different areas. One of the first animals that caught our attention were the rhinos. Seeing these enormous animals up close was impressive, especially watching just how calm and powerful they looked at the same time. Not far away, we visited the giraffes, gracefully moving around their enclosure and somehow making everything look effortless despite their incredible size. We also spent time watching the elephants, always fascinating to observe, especially seeing the way they interacted with each other. One of the most relaxing parts of the visit was the butterfly house. And of course, there were many more fascinating animals along the way, making every section feel different and interesting in its own way. Later, it was finally time to head back toward one of the city's biggest highlights. To get there, we took the oldest metro line in continental Europe, another small but interesting historical experience in Budapest. Soon, we arrived at the Hungarian Parliament Building for our scheduled visit. And inside, the building somehow felt even more impressive than from the outside. The beautiful ceilings, detailed decorations, grand staircase, enormous dome, and the Hall of the National Assembly all reflected incredible craftsmanship and attention to detail. Every room felt elegant, historic, and incredibly grand. It quickly became clear why this building is considered one of Budapest's greatest architectural masterpieces. After leaving Parliament, we crossed the bridge and headed to the other side of the river. From there, we admired the Parliament building once again, this time illuminated by the warm golden light of sunset. And somehow, the view only became more beautiful as time passed. After enjoying a lovely dinner nearby, we returned during Blue Hour, when the soft evening light gave the city an entirely different atmosphere. Later, after darkness arrived, we stayed to admire the Parliament glowing against the night sky. Without question, this became one of the most beautiful moments of the entire trip. Eventually, we made our way back to the hotel, enjoying Budapest's beautiful city lights one more time along the way. The following day started with another iconic landmark, St. Stephen's Basilica. Stepping inside immediately left us impressed. The interior was stunning, filled with elegant details, impressive artwork, and beautiful architecture. After exploring inside, we made our way to the top of the dome. And the views waiting for us there were absolutely extraordinary. From above, Budapest stretched endlessly in every direction, offering yet another unforgettable perspective of the city. Afterwards, we visited the church treasury before continuing with the rest of the day. Our next stop was Madame Tussauds Museum, a place that brought a completely different atmosphere compared to the historic landmarks and architecture we had been exploring throughout the trip. Walking inside immediately felt fun and entertaining, as we found ourselves surrounded by incredibly realistic wax figures of famous people from all around the world. From historical figures and political leaders to actors, musicians, athletes, and international celebrities, there was always someone recognizable around the next corner. Some of the figures looked so realistic that, at first glance, it almost felt as if we had accidentally walked into a room full of actual people. Of course, there were also plenty of fun moments trying to recreate iconic poses, taking photos, and comparing just how realistic some of the figures actually looked. After that, we visited the Dohany Street Synagogue. Its unique architecture and interesting interior made it feel completely different from the churches we had already visited, offering yet another side of Budapest's cultural history. Later, we headed to the Natural History Museum, where we explored many fascinating exhibitions and discovered interesting displays connected to nature, science, and history. After a full day of exploring, we returned to the hotel for a short break. But Budapest still had one more beautiful evening waiting for us. Later, we headed back outside to experience the city at night once again. Walking through Budapest after dark somehow never became repetitive. The illuminated buildings, elegant streets, and calm evening atmosphere made every evening walk feel special. The next morning, we decided to take things slowly. Instead of rushing between attractions, we spent some time simply enjoying the central part of the city one last time. We walked through the streets, admired the beautiful architecture around us, stopped for some ice cream, and appreciated the atmosphere that had made Budapest feel so memorable during the previous days. Eventually, it was time for our final destination in the city, MOL campus. One of Budapest's most modern landmarks, offering a completely different perspective compared to the city's historic buildings. After making our way to the top, we headed to VIRTU restaurant for lunch. The experience felt special from the very beginning. Large panoramic windows surrounded the space, offering incredible views stretching across the entire city. Sitting there, high above Budapest, while looking out over the Parliament, the Danube River, Buda Castle, and countless rooftops below made the experience feel unforgettable. The atmosphere inside the restaurant felt elegant and modern, yet still relaxed enough to simply enjoy the moment. Combined with a lovely meal and spectacular views, it quickly became one of the most memorable dining experiences of the trip. Sometimes it is not only about the food itself, but about the setting, the atmosphere, and the feeling of being somewhere unique, and VIRTU restaurant definitely delivered all of that. After lunch, we made our way to the rooftop observation deck for one final look over Budapest. And honestly, it felt like the perfect ending to the journey. Standing high above the city, we could see so much of what had become familiar to us over the previous days. The Danube River dividing the city into Buda and Pest. Seeing everything from above somehow brought the whole trip together. For a few moments, we simply stopped, looked around, and took it all in. After several unforgettable days filled with beautiful architecture, incredible views, classical music, historic landmarks, and unforgettable evenings, standing there felt like the perfect chance to reflect on everything we had experienced. This wasn't just another viewpoint. It felt like saying goodbye to Budapest in the best possible way. And just like that, our adventure in this incredible city slowly came to an end.